Hey everyone, welcome to the show, episode 28, Crows Draft Chats. So today we're going to open up with the Adelaide Football Club. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to cover each club, the players they got, the picks they use, also the roles that the players do, and also the roles the clubs didn't cover during the draft. So we're going to open up with the Adelaide Football Club. And it was quite an interesting draft for the Crows. And also an interesting trade period, which I covered during the trade chats, which they went for Christian Petrarca, who elected to go to the Gold Coast after having a meeting with the Crows. Riley Sanders from the Bulldogs didn't eventuate with a trade to the Crows. And also Will Day, who wanted to stay with Hawthorn. So the Crows just had a look. So it was led to believe a lot of people thought the Crows would have went for a midfielder after looking for one during the trade period. So we're going to talk about the players that they picked. So at pick 22, Mitchell Marsh. At pick 50, Archie Ludwick. Hard name to pronounce. Might have butchered that one. Sorry. In the preseason draft, they went with Callum Archie from Brisbane. And in the rookie draft, they went with Tyler Welsh, who was relisted and is the father-son of Scott Welsh. They also went with a Category B rookie, Indy Cotton. So we're going to talk about Mitchell Marsh first. He obviously is the centre forward from the undefeated South Australian side, son of Ben Marsh, premiership player. He's a West Adelaide product, standing at, your 191 centimetres. 191 centimetres. He was arguably South Australia's best player. He was the leading goal kicker in the under-18s championship at the state championships. And that was 12 goals in 4 games, which included a bag of 4 in one game and a bag of 5 and a game of 4, and 4 in a game to end the series against Vic Country in the championship game. So he kicked a bag of 4 in the championship game. A total of 12. The leading goal kicker, a great left foot. He moves around like your Jack Gunston, Aaron Cadman, and Jeremy Cameron, sort of all rolled into one. You could even add a little bit of Mitch Georgiadis about him. So his traits were quite good. He was only West Adelaide's sole member in the squad for South Australia. He has good traits. He has speed off the mark. He's got a good set of hands, a booming left foot, and quite accurate kick. He's going to be an interesting player for the Crows. As I sort of covered, they've got a pretty stacked forward line. It's going to be a hard forward line to break into. But he's also that sort of moulded player that the Crows don't have in their forward line. They've got a pretty sort of Tex Walker and Darcy Fogarty are very similar type players. They're your sort of second or third tall that have got a bit of size and they use their body quite well. They're a lot more solid in size. They've got Riley Filthorpe, who's your big, almost 7 foot clunking forward. Your 6 foot, 6'8", big mobile key forward. Who can just clunk it? Who's got, he's just a big guy with a beard, a big guy that just clunks it, Your genuine big full forward. So he comes across more as a centre half forward. Roaming down the ground, be able to get he's a good leading player. He can lead out and grab the ball at a nice sort of speed. And just, he's a traditional centre half forward. So he has athletic traits, speed off the mark. He also has aerial ability, a booming left foot, and he has a fair bit of accolades to him now. He's in the undefeated championship side, the leading goal kicker. So that does say a lot about him. And I'll just click into his actual player profile, and he's a very athletic forward who, can sort of take a mark. He does a lot of work rate, and he's inside 50s. He does repeat inside 50s to break free and get a nice mark. He has a great left foot. He can soar above the packs. And yeah, so he's done very well. He had 19 goals in 16 under 18 SANFL games last year. So yeah, as I mentioned, he's a mobile target. He's primed himself for a huge preseason to be with the Crows. He's son of Ben Marsh, Premiership player. Unfortunately, didn't play enough games for him to have a father-son bid. But yeah, he's very professional. He spearheaded the under-18 grand final, booting 30 goals in 15 matches, having been the integral part of South Australia's undefeated side. So, yeah, he's led very well. In the National Championships decider, he kicked 4 goals, including 5 majors, also against Vic Country. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's... Yeah, I think they've got that mixed up. I thought it was 4 goals in the game against Vic. I'm not too sure what's happening there. Yeah, I think 12 goals in 4 games, including a high of 5 majors against Vic Country. So they must have just got that mixed around. Just need to clarify that. So so that's pretty good. So 5 goals against Vic Country, which was the second best side in the country. And a few bags, he's got you 12 goals, and he, performed quite well with Aiden Schubert, who was also the other key tool in the forward line, which is more of your Riley Phil forward. So if that indicates to me that he could fit in nicely with Tex getting older and about to retire, and Darcy Fogarty can take that sort of Tex role, and Mitch Marsh just can come in and just be that roaming centre-half forward. He's probably that perfect player. I can see why the Crows went for him. So yeah, that covers him quite well. Quite an athletic left footer. His games compared to sort of Jeremy Cameron and also Aaron Cadman. I see a lot of those two players in him. Probably more Aaron Cadman, but like till he starts putting on more size and becomes that 20 to 25 bracket, you might see him become a bit more of a Jeremy Cameron type player. So we'll go on to Archie Ludwick. Sorry, that name's really got me a bit. So he is 197 centimetres. He is an athletic, high-marking, tall forward who has the soaring abilities for speckies. He's also capable of kicking bags of goals. He also can pinch hit in the ruck. He's the type of player who produces moments with onlookers looking at his height and also his marking ability. He had a memorable moment during his under-16 championships when he soared for a massive specky in the carnival, and he also earned All-Australian honours. So he's got a good leaping ability, 197 centimetres. He was full forward for Vic Metro side, which won the Pool A title, and also undefeated, skippered by Sandra Hand teammate Jack Dalton, who was drafted to Hawthorn. So yeah, he's under 16s. It was really good. They obviously were like the good side during that period. Just reading up on that, so that's quite interesting. So he was quite good at the under 16s, but as they got to under 18s, the Vic Metro team struggled, and also he would have struggled to get the ball a fair bit because the midfield wasn't getting the ball down there. But he looked good with the opportunities he had. He built off a promising bottom end season, and also 197 centimetres. He broke into Vic Metro's under 18s to debut in 2024. Booted 13 goals in 9 games for the Coates Talent League with appearances in Sandringham. Also helped take Brighton Grammar's APS title, kicking 22 goals during the school football season. So quite a good school footballer. Notable goal kicker. He had a coccyx injury to the coccyx bone on his back late last season and missed a lot of last year. It was a roller coaster year. A week later, he took to the field after he's been cleared of his injury. Took to the field in the AFL Grand Final day for the National Under-17s Futures game. He kicked the match-winning goal for his side to finish off on the high after the challenges that he faced. So yeah, nothing major sort of injuries. They obviously you got to be careful with your back, but it's nothing with his knees. Being a tall guy, hopefully he has that sort of sorted. So yeah, this year he did quite well. He was inducted into the National Academy and kicked 3 goals in their game against Richmond's VFL side. And yeah, he was pretty much one of the top tall crops. So yeah, reading from his note, he was cut short after 3 games against in the state teams and also in the against the Allies, where he endured a couple of heavy knocks and ended up straining a PCL. And he was invited to the National Combine, but remained on the sidelines. That would have been a lively participant. So he missed his combine, which could have maybe pushed him down a little bit further. But yeah, the Crows seen something in him, and have just maybe they're looking for a second ruck / forward. And maybe they'll play sort of like if once this guy develops, maybe Riley Fieldthorpe will stay as a permanent full forward. And this man will come in as a second ruck. He obviously had Cooper Duff Tyler, who was, the main sort of ruckman. So they did have good tall talent, Vic Metro. So this is the guy, yeah. So I quite like him. He's a good pickup for the Crows. A marking ability, great above the head, and that explains him quite well. So I hope you enjoyed that, Crows fan. I did notice he was quite emotional when he got drafted, because he did quite well, and for some reason, some of the good tall talent just didn't get picked up this draft. I mentioned about Ainsworth from South Australia, and yeah, they elected to go with this guy over the South Australian talent. And yeah, he was quite emotional. He wasn't actually there when his name got called out because he went upstairs to catch a bit of breath and just was hoping to get drafted. That's how much it means to these lads. And, he was quite emotional, the tears in the eyes when he was talking to Fox Footy. Like, good on you, mate. I hope you have a long career at the Crows. So it's great to see that passion. I really like to see that because that's how much it means to all these blokes. So well done. And so we'll talk about Indy Cotton. So yeah, fresh off the week in China with NBA superstar Steph Curry. This man was a basketballer. The in-demand 18-year-old Indy Cotton has signed with the Adelaide Crows as a Category B rookie. The 194cm highly talented basketballer has represented Australia at multiple junior levels, including under-16s where he won a gold at the FIBA Asian Championships in 2023. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's really cool that he's chose AFL over basketball. That shows you how much people do love their footy, and it means a lot to people in the state. He has his father, Jared, was also a member of Port Adelaide's inaugural squad in 1997. So yeah, I do remember Jared Cotton. Spent the bulk of his playing days in the SANFL before transitioning to coaching. So yeah, his dad has a fair bit his dad's got an AFL history. Made it to the top flight in the inaugural part of Port Adelaide's side. So yeah, the Crows have picked him up, and the Crows general manager, list management, Justin Reid, has described Indy as an exciting talent who could carve out a long career in football. We're delighted to be Indy's club of choice, Reid said. He is an extremely talented kid who, despite a few years out of the game, has all the ingredients to succeed at AFL level. His football pedigree is clearly evident from his father, and we firmly believe he can be a huge and hugely valuable addition to our squad. So yeah, another player that, him and Mitch Marsh at that centre forward sort of size between 191 to 194 centimetres. I probably see Marsh getting into at least that size, I would say. Might have another growth spurt, and he could, between 192 to 194. And that explains Indy Cotton. So quite an interesting player and a good basketball wing background. And so he must be quite talented. Gold medal winner at the championships in the basketball. So we'll also move on to the next part. I've covered Callum Archie, premiership player. I covered him in the trade period. Your high half forward, your tagging half forward, defensive forward line type player. Also has the ability to have a defensive role maybe within the midfield, but also on the wing, where he shut down Oliver Dempsey in the AFL Grand Final. So I'm not sure how the Crows are going to use him. They've obviously got a pretty stacked forward line, whether they use him as a defensive mid. It's going to be quite interesting. Maybe that's why they didn't go for a midfielder. But I'll also talk about their supplementary players that they've got on the training list and who they've sort of got to pick and what they've gone with. So I'll just bring up their profile and just loading my notes now. So it was quite an interesting one. It's a Collingwood father-son who Collingwood didn't elect to pick. And that is Thomas McGuan, standing at 178 centimetres. So he's your smaller midfielder. Your link-in running can be a bit inside out. And we're going to talk. So his strengths are accumulation of of the footy, consistency, footy IQ, and running capacity. Stuff he's sort of got to work on is probably he's sort of undersized, and also his quickness, speed. He's got good agility, but his speed may need to work on is what they've indicated. And being a smaller fella, speed's probably a very important trait to have. He has been known to find the football. He's a hard-running utility, so he can play multiple roles. And, his dad, Mick, played 152 games for the Magpies. He's won a couple of best and fairest. He's a premiership player. And it's an interesting one. I didn't elect to pick him up, even through the rookie draft, which is after the national draft. And he didn't end up getting drafted after a lot of people expected to. So he did junior footy and was sensational in the Coates Talent League campaigns at the Western Jets, where he debuted alongside Thomas Burton in 2023, going on top of the competitors' disposal charts for a bottom major. He boosted his average up to 27.9 per game in 2025. And he was prolific across several roles and even stepping up to 3 VFL games last season. Such a high volume to the credit and ability to be able to run both ways. He's also knows how to read the play and has quite smart patterns the way he moves across the ground. He's quite clean, hits the contest pretty hard, and he's also more influential on the outside, able to link up by hands, like I mentioned, linking up midfielder, and it can drive the ball forward by foot. He's quite good. Also, being an inside midfielder still to be seen, but has the ability. But yeah, he has to work hard on his power, strength, and speed. So yeah, he was at Vic Metro. So yeah, their midfielders weren't as stacked as other teams like Vic Country and South Australia's undefeated championship side. So yeah, he did get a lot of the first ball get with having one of the good ruckmans, but just the guys around him. He didn't have the 4 to 6 midfielders that could rotate in and out. Where he might have had 4 decent ones, but yeah, didn't have that 6 sort of bracket where they could swap a couple off the bench of the half forward, like South Australia's side. Like I covered a bit in the draft recap, and the players that didn't get picked up. And the rookies that didn't get picked up, I sort of covered the midfielders from South Australia who didn't get picked up. And yeah, they were projecting him to be late or a rookie pick. And I did see a report today that he was training quite well. He had his first training with the Crows today. And from all reports, he did quite well. But he's not the only player to compete with for a spot. He's also got to compete with Zach Foote, who was recruited by Sydney with the 51st draft pick in the 2018 draft. So quite a long time ago. He debuted in round 12, 2020 against Greater Western Sydney. And that was during the COVID time, so it was at Perth Stadium. At the conclusion of the 2020 season, he was delisted by Sydney and returned to Melbourne to play with Casey Demons in the VFL. Foote also played with Southport in the club's 6-point 2024 VFL Grand Final loss to Werribee. So yeah, his standing height is 180 centimeters, 5'11", the weight of 71 kilos or 157 pounds. His position is a midfield/forward. So yeah, he's 24 years old, mature age player. So the Crows have a choice between those two. Are they going to go for a young player that they could develop, or are they going to go for a 24-year-old that they may be able to fit in the midfield? He looks like he could even play a role on the wing. And yeah, he only played the 2 games, I believe it was. And then yeah, back end of the VFL, he is a Doc McKenzie medal winner of 2025. So yeah, they're the 2 players that they're gone with. So after a very interesting trade period, they didn't elect to get a midfielder, and they've gone with their supplementary player to be the midfielder they picked up. So I quite find that interesting. They didn't cover that player. And I rated Matt Leray quite high. He trained with the Crows last preseason. They had a chance to pick him up, but they didn't. And he went quite late in the draft. And I was surprised that they didn't go for him after training. He's that sort of Will Day type build/player. So yeah, they didn't go for him. And that's, I think, a role that's that they didn't cover. But I know they've got McGowan and Foote. And whether those 2 guys will sort of duke it out for a spot. And we'll see who the Crows go with. Whether they go for the youth or they go for the more mature age player that has the body ready to go. Obviously, the Crows had a good season last year. They played finals. They did quite well. So they're more in that point where they're going to start making the most. Their window will be quite sort of big to go for a finals tilt for the next few years. They don't have an old list like other clubs. They're sort of that middle bracket, even on between a middle to young bracket. And yeah, they've got a few years left outside of players like Tex, and I think they had Brody Smith retire. So they didn't quite sort of go with a running half back to replace Brody Smith. And also, yeah, they could probably put McGuan or Foot as a running half back if they want to. But yeah, they'll probably be playing midfield. But yeah, do they pick a young guy that they can use to develop, whether he gets a game straight away or not? Or will Foot train the house down, get a spot, be that mature age body already in there? So that's the two picks the Crows have to pick between that are left. And yeah, they've got all forward line players that they've got. It's an interesting one. I honestly thought they were going to go for a midfield player. Mitchell Marsh is a good pickup. He may take some time to develop as well, but an absolute gun. Like, it's hard to deny that player. Like, he probably should have went earlier. In a way, I don't know. I know a lot of players went that were midfielders. Some were a couple of defenders, but yeah, it was an interesting one. I'm surprised Hawthorn didn't. They went with Cameron Ngan instead, and yeah, they could have picked up Mitchell Marsh, but yeah, they're the two that are. He's more of a Jeremy Cameron type running centre forward / Aaron Cadman. So yeah, it is the forward line player the Crows don't have, and now they've got to add that into their growing list. And they have a really good forward line. A lot of people were scratching their head wondering why, but it is the player that they're missing in their forward line. That roaming centre forward, that your mid to sort of tall, your centre half forward, traditional centre half forward build. He has got a good left kick. He's a leading goal kicker in the state championships. And yeah, just like, he's the best forward. So the Crows have done really well in their first round pick for that. They've got a good rookie player that they can maybe develop as another sort of, it could be a defender even. I'm not sure they'll put Indy Cotton. And he'll have to earn his spot as well coming into the lineup. Along with the two lads that they've got as supplementary picks. And Callum Archie, he's just going to slot straight in that side. Whatever the role they're going to give him, he'll be fine. Like I've already mentioned, the role that he's going to do. But yeah, the roles that they didn't cover were a midfielder. Whether they could have got a young midfielder that was ready to go, but a lot of those guys could have went earlier. Could they have got Ollie Greaves, who went through pass? They passed essentially, so they could have picked him up, but they didn't. So he's one big-bodied guy that they didn't go for. That maybe could have helped Dawson. So they're going to rely on Barry getting better again, or Pedler. So I did hear Mark Bickley. So shout out you Bix, mate. I did hear your midfielder, the players you wanted in Adelaide's midfield. And he did mention Pedler. So whether, they've gone for maybe put Pedler but in the midfield as that extra big body to help Dawson, I think that's important. But he's had shoulder injuries, so can he work on his shoulders, get them fixed? Because it's a pretty crash and bash sort of role. But, at the end of the day, he was a high draft pick. He gets his body right. He has to play that role. He's got no choice. Otherwise, his contract will come to an end. And you don't want to see that with a player. So, yeah, I hope, Pedler, you can get your body right, mate. You get in that role, and that's sort of what I think the Crows are looking for. They couldn't get that midfielder. They didn't get a midfielder with the draft. But the supplementary picks, they've gone with those couple players, but not that sort of really big midfield body. Just your more running, linking type players. So that covers the Crows trade chats. I really hope everyone appreciates it. And thank you, everyone. And yeah, I'm just trying to think of anything I'm missing out and leaving out. They've only got that one pick between those two players, Foot and McGuan. And it's whether they go for youth or they go for the now. So they're going to have to train the house down, potentially, get the choice between the two, and it's going to come down to those two. So we'll see how it goes, and I hope you enjoyed it, Crows fans. Thank you. Off to Brisbane next. Cheers.